welcome to Knights of the Dirty Table. With me today are Merrick Henry and Dave Martin. Today we will be talking about streaming services. Merrick?
I'm really curious what Dave's got to say. We were talking off camera before we started filming, and he was ready to roll. So, Dave, you go first, please.
So, I hate streaming services. I hate the idea that I have to pay for television, that I have to pay for quality content.
I can agree with that.
Now, I will say this. The streaming services, and I'm going to use Netflix as my first example with the Marvel series,
Fair.
is the first thing that's made television series so able to really capture the comic idea and give it that continuity. Cartoons have been doing it for decades. You can pick any animated show you want, whether it's the...
You're speaking live action specifically.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Live action specifically hasn't been done successfully, with the rare exceptions of three of the classics.
Oh, man, this hurts. Go ahead, Dave.
With Adam West Batman, The Incredible Hulk, and Wonder Woman. Both of the latter of the 70s. Those themselves were great because each individual episode stood on its own, didn't have to be in continuity, didn't have to worry about any of that. And it actually played well with the comic styles of the times. A lot of those stories, if they had a storyline, they're like 3 issues and that was it. And then you went on to the next thing, and that was no big deal.
If you missed a month, the storyline was over.
Exactly. There's no big deal on that.
Short attention span to the nth degree.
Short what?
Exactly. If we look, see, you just got to learn to just let it go. Just let it go. The big thing now is everything ties in so much. You look at the way that Marvel has done the events of Infinity, of Civil War 1 and 2, of Secret War, of all of those different events and more. They all build off of each other, and they all surmise into each other. If you look at the shows today, a lot of efforts to try to duplicate that weren't successful. They may have had great episodes. They may have had great points. But in my opinion, I don't feel like they were successful to the degree that the Netflix shows were. Because they were able to establish that and go for a whole season and not have those same restrictions of a regular broadcast 24 to 28 minute episode.
I feel that a lot of comics today will have issues here and there that are related to an individual's arc, but not that overarching arc, if you will. And a lot of the TV shows today also portray that. Mm-hmm. So I would say that your standard broadcast television is more accurate to comic books in that manner, as opposed to the streaming services, which can give you 15 episodes dropped off, and you can just binge watch it.
Mm. Yeah, no, and I get that for sure. It's hard for me because, like, when I look at it this way, I look at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as an example. It's a show that I really liked, and it's a show I didn't like. For so many reasons. I think the biggest reason why I liked it was because of the fact that this is a TV show that's actively tying into the Marvel Universe and is really making an effort to do something new. I loved that. I didn't like how it just didn't have the same feel.
As a feature-length film?
No, as a quality level of work.
No, I'm gonna heavily dispute that. It was great to be able to see the reveal of Hydra before the reveal of Hydra.
That's fair.
Is that when it happened in the layout? I forget.
Yes.
When I started watching S.H.I.E.L.D., it was kind of after
If
Winter
I remember
Soldier.
correctly, it was like a week before Winter Soldier dropped. And they were like, here's Hydra. And I could absolutely be wrong because I was...
No, that's fair. I was going to say, I don't know if that would have had the same feeling in the movie theater, going into the movie theater, like, oh yeah,
it was
Hydra's just going to mess everything up.
I could be wrong. I think it was like on top of each other, but I think that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did it first.
That sounds right, honestly.
And it was just enough where going into...
They probably needed something to keep the ratings together, so it makes sense. Just jump the shark now.
The reveal that you will not believe. Wow, they delivered for once. So you were saying before, the two representations that you were using were Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep.
and Gotham.
Yes.
Okay, do you want to go a little bit on that. I'm going to contest you afterwards. But
So the thing that I liked about Gotham, now as a full disclaimer, Gotham is not something I religiously watched. I watched it when it was on. I enjoyed it. I did not go out and seek it. So I haven't seen the whole thing. Full disclosure. What I
don't think
liked.
it's done yet either.
It
No.
just finished
Last season,
Thursday, the night Endgame came out, or as of the taping of whenever we taped this.
Oh.
It ended the same night as Endgame, so give and take that.
Okay.
Poor choice.
Yeah. The big thing that I liked about Gotham was that it was something that wasn't about Batman. Because everything DC has tried to do cinematically was focused on the one character of the Batman. So to see his world shape him before he came out as opposed to the other way was really refreshing for me. I thought the acting was very good in it, which is where I was a little disappointed with S.H.I.E.L.D., why I said I didn't feel the acting was up to par. Storyline, I don't have an issue with the storyline because you go into it knowing you're watching a television show based off of a comic book. If you go in with that mindset, you're not going to be disappointed. If you go into the mindset that this is going to be a great show that has comic book characters in it, no, you're going to be disappointed because it's not supposed to be a piece of scripted television first and foremost, 100%. It's going to be working towards the goal of enhancing the cinematic universe, one, as a large whole, and two, we're working on something for a completely different audience. You know, we're not trying to appeal to the same people who watch Dallas or 90210. It's not how it works.
But see, to that point, I feel like superhero TV in general, streaming broadcasts, I feel like for the most part, it's never been better than it has been. We'll have a whole separate thing talking about the Arrowverse and everything that it's built up.
I was just going to say.
You know, and I'm going to keep it to streaming. Our cameraman just winced at us and cringed in horror, but it's fine. It's whatever. It's okay. In terms of specifically streaming, what Netflix was able to do with Marvel was so astonishing. I learned about binge watching. I discovered it firsthand with Daredevil. Yeah. I'll never get that feeling back again, but man, it was great for college. But I also knew what we were building up towards. I knew as an obsessive fan that we were building
up towards. It's okay.
We were building up to the Defenders, and for some people, they felt like the Defenders didn't quite live up to those expectations. I actually disagree. I personally think it was the best overall execution, not necessarily villain, not necessarily complete individual story, but I think in terms of payoff, I think the payoff was well worth it personally. And there were a lot of artistic choices that they made. In regards to, now that we have the Defenders as an example of that whole series as successful streaming, we have DC Universe that just launched last year. Obviously, I got my subscription like before day one, and I spent a ton of money on it, but well worth it.
For Young Justice alone, I'm content.
Young Justice alone, but also Titans. How could I not be curious about an F-dropping Robin, you know, for better or worse, which I do recommend checking out, by the way. They'll probably disagree.
I do not. No,
overruled.
That's a hard pass.
But all the stuff that's coming up for it, you're ecstatic about Swamp Thing.
I am pumped for Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing.
Please go.
Swamp Thing is exactly what the Spawn movie that's been in the works for how many years now?
With the one with Jamie Foxx, you're talking.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Long enough.
Is exactly what it wants to be, where it's this horror cliche that is going to pull you in and not be necessarily about the title character. Again, very similar to Gotham, where you can't have a terrifying Spawn on film where you see everything that Spawn does. Spawn is this creature of the night who comes in, massacres everybody, and goes off on his way. You are supposed to be left in his wake, and that is the terrifying aspect of it. The trailer for Swamp Thing, have you seen it?
Of course.
Where it's literally just like him coming up out of the water, you know, creature of the deep style. That is exactly what this should be. Like Arcane, and you know what I mean, all these dark, anything that Constantine is going to be around is what Swamp Thing is going to be around. And it's not that bright in the middle of the day fight. It's that under a moonlight with, you know.
So you want the kind of off filter superhero shows going forward.
Which I did not.
In terms of streaming service exclusively.
Yes, I watched Gotham. I did not necessarily enjoy the route that they took, but I feel for these very powerful, very dark entities.
As someone for Gotham who skipped out on it the first 8 episodes, because man, it was rough.
Oh,
Saw that it
Professor
got better.
Pig.
The not Professor Pig. We eventually get there,
Right.
spoiler. Season 4, Season 5, I recommend it in Gotham. Regardless, so we're now talking about Disney Plus here. We have all these Marvel shows coming out and related to the MCU. We've got WandaVision. We've got The Falcon and Winter Soldier, which takes on a whole new different meaning if you've seen Endgame. We've got Loki. We've got a Loki series coming out. Do we wonder if they're going to feel a little too generic having all of these different series, even a Hawkeye series in there too? I think I've heard that.
Yeah.
Do we think it's going to get too generic?
No, because these are characters who might not necessarily succeed in getting their own movie. I think these are people that you could put Thor in a movie. You can't put Thor in a TV show.
I think this is the best way to go. I'd rather
Yeah.
not spend the money at the box office seeing these films. I'd rather them get their own stories, but not for a 2-hour length film. Or 3 hours, depending on what movie you're watching now.
That way you can flesh them out and have it actually mean something.
Absolutely.
As opposed to the issue that I foresee with this is that they will not go the Netflix route. Like, I felt Netflix did justice to pretty much every character that they put on there.
Aside from Iron Fist, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, that was...
Season 2.
Who's Iron Fist?
Yeah.
I will argue season 2 to that point.
Okay. But I'm afraid that they will get the CWDC treatment, where after...
What's wrong with that? It's been working.
It has been, but after a certain point, for me at least, I felt that it was just too much. I couldn't keep up with it anymore. You know what I mean? If I have to watch WandaVision, Hawkeye, Winter Soldier, and Falcon, if these are biting 7 hours of every week, you know what I mean? I'm not keeping up with it. And then DC, the CW universe, Arrowverse, had them all tying in every other week. It was just...
Well, see, that's fair, but with these, you except for DC's roadmap in terms of releasing everything weekly, I'm assuming Disney Plus is going to release everything at once in terms of binging.
Nobody does any... Or a lot of people have been changing that because they'll get a bump in viewership for 2 weeks, and then it drops off again.
Oh, that makes sense. I never thought about that. You learn something new every day here on the set, folks.
Which, the alternative to that is they do what Netflix did just before they canceled everything, which was, okay, this month it's Daredevil, this month it's Iron Fist, this month it's gone.
Just snapped it all away.
Oh, so.
Cheers.
Hey.
Oh, it is.
It's rough. Yeah, no, I would really like to see I would love to see Disney Plus allow it to binge. And the reason for that is because I understand what you're saying with the viewership spikes. I get that. But I'm going to do a callback to a different movie to kind of prove the opposite. When Jurassic Park came out, it did fairly well. And then it spiked incredibly in the last bits of it being in theaters. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, got more runtime in the theaters. Now, again, this is pre-internet. Mm-hmm. A lot of things went into that.
Those were the days.
Yeah, I know. But Jurassic Park got a huge spike in that. It had a resurgence that we don't see anymore. And I think that Disney could kind of look at that and kind of play off that a bit. Because I know for a fact, when I binged everything for Netflix, I still have a few episodes of different shows to go. But when I do it, I go through the whole thing. And I have no problem rewatching because I want to get those details, being somebody who grew up with these characters. Mm-hmm. I would much rather see them do that because if I have to make it a routine, I already have enough routines in my life. I have work, I got sleep, I got babysitting, I got all sorts of crap I have to do regularly, and I don't want to do.
You have a
regularly.
Life, Dave. Good for you. So proud.
It's
we were
horrible.
worried there for a moment.
I don't know.
Walmart, right?
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. I don't know what people were so pandering for to get that. It's not really that great, guys. The point is, I want to be able to do something. If I have a day to just kill, I want to just kill it by watching whatever I want in a binge. And if I want to do that, I want to do that. You know, and I don't want to have to wait. Oh, when's the next episode going to come out? Looks like my binge is done early. I want to go, no, I'm going to watch this whole season, and I'm just going to do it. That's it. And I feel like if they go with a weekly thing, that they're going to take away from that. Because if I want weekly, I'm going to watch ABC. I'm going to watch CBS.
CW.
NBC. Yes.
Well, you won't watch CW.
No, I
that's DC, but...
Yeah, exactly. No. I would do that. I would go from that perspective. you know, and that's just how I look at that.
All right. Well, what do you guys think about that? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? This has been Knights of the Dirty Table. Hey guys, we've really enjoyed making this video, and we hope that you enjoyed watching it just as much. If you want to find more of our videos, like and subscribe, and you'll be notified when we come out with something new.